BFree CBD.com joins forces with Championship Wrestling to bring you the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast. And here's your host, Dustin Starr, featuring special guest,
BFree CBD,
founder of BFree CBD, Daryl Bird. Here we go!
Body aches gone, leg pain gone, back pain gone, relaxation on.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast, presented by BFree CBD. Thank you for joining me wherever you are. Happy Monday. I am Dustin Starr, and I'll be speaking with one of the voices of Championship Wrestling, ring announcer Adnan Kureishy, right here today. You hear his voice each and every week on Championship Wrestling, presented by Pro Shingle, and today we're going to talk to him one-on-one. But first, a big thank you to our sponsors. BFree CBD is perfect for aches and pains, or if you're struggling with anxiety, check out BFreeCBD.com. That's the letter B, freecbd.com. They have oils, bath bombs, and even flour and gummies. Follow them on social media at BFreeCBD, an awesome location opening very, very soon here in the Memphis area. Go ahead while you're there and follow at CW30 Wrestling. And of course, I'm at Dustin Starr. Today, we're going to get to our guest in just a moment, but a quick rundown of what's coming up in this program. First, I'm going to recap Saturday's Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle as we looked back at 3 more feature matches, all main event matches. And then we're going to look ahead at what's coming up this week. And of course, I'm going to answer all of your questions in the mailbag. But up next, let me see if I can get this right. It's Adnan Kureishy! See what I did there? He's the ring announcer. Anyways, he's up next.
The all-new Championship Wrestling podcast is presented by BFree CBD.
He not only attacked your knee, but he tried to take your mask.
I will say this to Mr. Dice. If he acts less outlandish and a bit more sporting and gentlemanly and shows more sportsmanship, he might just get more television time.
BFreeCBD.com joins forces with Championship Wrestling to help you be and feel your best.
It's the golden voice, Adnan Kureishy. Adnan, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dustin?
Doing as good as possible. Be sure to follow Adnan on social media at the Dashing Adnan. What's up, man? What's new? We see you and we hear your voice every single week on Championship Wrestling, but take us behind the curtain a little bit. What are you doing right now while you're at home?
Oh, man. I mean, just like I think everyone else who I've noticed, a lot of my friends and a lot of people, if you've seen online at all, I'm playing Animal Crossing New Horizon like everybody else right now. It's like literally like when we don't have the world go on, we now create our own little worlds. And so I'm trying to take care of a little island, sell my turnips, get a good price out of them,
Very cool.
Do stuff like that. So it's been a lot because I'm a relatively big gamer outside of like, what I would do in pro wrestling and stuff like that. So this has given me a lot of time to catch up on some video games and whatnot. So that's one of the things I've been playing. So I've been catching up on a lot of my backlog.
Very, very cool. I've been playing Fortnite. I actually got a solo win the other day with 4 kills, and I was just ecstatic. You'd have thought I won the world championship.
Yeah, you were tweeting that or something. I definitely saw that pop up on your social media. You got your 5-star, like a 5-star win, baby.
Yes,
congratulations.
And new.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of that.
Speaking of that, it was the winner. It was like the and new winner of the Fortnite game, Dustin. 5-star.
I absolutely love it, and I'm glad that you did that for me because the last couple of weeks we've been looking back at the very best of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle over the course of the last 13 or 14 months. And the last couple of weeks in a row, we've heard and new announced by you. So is that your favorite thing to say when it comes to being a ring announcer? It's got to be, right?
It's definitely up there. I was just thinking about that the other day, and like I've noticed like the times that it feels the best to say, or the most excited I get, I feel like is when the audience gets the biggest reaction. And I feel like both times that I've had the opportunity to do the Red Carpet Rumble, and we just, as we just re-aired the Red Carpet Rumble on CW30 recently, you can definitely hear it when Watts becomes the champion. In that Red Carpet Rumble, and it's a very exciting feeling, when you get to like it's cool when it's, and still that's nothing wrong with that, and still, but something about a new champion in like any sport, like pro wrestling especially, though, just like it feels cool that you're witnessing a title change. It's watching history be made. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it kind of like jolts my energy to do and new.
We're talking to Adnan Kureishy. He is one of the voices of Championship Wrestling, our ring announcer. You can follow him at @the_Adnan. Especially you mentioned Watts, because we all saw the slow build throughout the course of the months leading up to the Red Carpet Rumble, and the people chant his name with his theme song. So doing that one, I'm sure had a lot more energy than some of the other ones. And that's not putting any of the other ones down. It's just saying that the build for him was huge. But I know another one that Todd and I kind of mess with you a little bit about is what about it's for the championship?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Tell people the inside story about that, how you say championship and how Todd's kind of messing with you on it.
I'm the only one. Like, I don't think I'm saying championship. I know in my head I'm saying championship, but like Todd Kennelly, like he there was just one point, I don't know how long into me being around at Championship Wrestling it started, but I've been around now roughly about 2 years, and Todd's been here for like a good portion of our history, but I remember at one point he comes up to me, he's all like, "Hey Adnan," it's like, so you gotta hit me with that championship. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, it's like when you say your big title match, you're like, you go championship. I'm like, "No, I don't." It's like, "Yeah, dude, you should make some merch, man. It should be like you, like as a sheep, holding the microphone." I'm like, "No, I can't." It's gonna be great. Don't worry about it.
That's even better.
Yeah. It's Todd Kennelly, who if you're listening to this, I love you and I hate you for every time you bring this up, and the fact that it actually got brought up on Milestone, and I just remember like sitting at home watching Milestone, and if I was eating something, I'm sure I did a spit take going, he made it to TV, he got it on TV. Yes. I can't believe he did that. Oh my god. So it's a really, and now I think I don't know if you heard from him, because I know that you guys on the CW30 Twitter and stuff like to give me stuff about it too, and I'm always the sheep.
Well, it kind of gives you more, I guess. If you have a nickname or if you have something that you can goof with each other about, meeting each other in person really helps with all that kind of stuff too. And that was just one of those funny elements where you guys were kind of teasing back and forth with each other. And it was like, man, that's a real life thing. That's funny. And so we brought it up on the social media. But you mentioned that you had been a couple of years now as the ring announcer for Championship Wrestling. And I know, as far as me, I do my homework on all the boys and stuff, but I know that you're a referee and you're a manager as well. So how did it all get started to where 2 years ago, and congratulations, happy anniversary, by the way.
Thank you.
2 years ago, you became the voice of Championship Wrestling and called all the matches as far as being the ring announcer. How did all that come about when, in all reality, you do a little bit of everything?
It's what I was. You just had Gentleman Jervis on your show recently, and Gentleman Jervis was actually the one who trained me. So I've been in the business not even that much longer than I've been at Championship Wrestling, about 2.5 years, maybe a little longer now, actually. I was trained by Jervis at our training school down here at the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy, and basically they had the first kind of like non-wrestling course. It was like a basically what they call the advanced class now, but it was Jervis wanted us to be wrestling Swiss Army knives, which was an absolutely perfect way of putting it. So
Yeah.
I've done a lot of commentary on other shows. I've been ring announcing at the same time. I have characters that I can pull out. I referee on the occasion, stuff like that. But when you're in a non-wrestling role, and I'm sure you've done many non-wrestling roles too, it makes you more important, because you're a wrestler, you're a host and stuff like that. But it makes you more versatile when you're able to do more things than just the one thing on a show. And I was showing up, relatively early. I was only like a couple months into my career when I started showing up to Championship Wrestling to help out. And senior official Nick Bonanno, he comes up to me and he's all like, "Hey, what are you trying to do?" And I'm like, I can do commentary, I can ring announce, stuff like that. It's like, well, we might be looking for a new ring announcer. It's like, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like, yeah, so next time if you like have your suit, we can take a look at you. And I'm like, well, I have my suit because another referee from our show, who was on our show, now signed to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Jeremy Marcus, who also trained me too in like the referee stuff. He told us a very important lesson that I'm sure you know too. You always want to have your gear.
Always bring your gear. You never know. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many bookings that I've gotten just off the fly. Even WWE type of stuff, to where if you've got your gear, man, you're in. You're ready to go.
Exactly, because you never know when you're going to get booked. And so I got a couple of dark matches then. Then Powers That Be gave me a whole episode to go from there. And then after that first set of tapings, I got an email that said, "Hey, we want to keep you on permanently." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." And awesome. 2 years later, here I am talking to Dustin Starr on the Championship Wrestling podcast presented by BFree CBD.
I love how you threw BFree CBD in there too. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. Listen, I know how it works. You got to plug.
Yeah.
You got to plug.
You can follow Adnan and all of his, whether it's refereeing, managing, ring announcing, Animal Crossing. Follow him at @the-Adnan. Now, I've got to put you on the spot before I let you go. A couple of weeks ago, since I'm a ring announcer myself, I kind of stumbled into that as far as MMA and just various different projects. But I gave my Mount Rushmore of ring announcers just a few weeks back. It was a question that came in on the mailbag.
Okay.
And I hate to put you on the spot. You don't have to necessarily give me your Mount Rushmore, but who are some of the ring announcers that you admired, whether it's growing up or in the business right now? Because we all try to not really copy or mimic, but we all have our favorites. And there's always a little bit of that flavor that we take away from the ones that we like. So who's yours? Who did you grow up admiring, or who made you want to be a ring announcer, or your favorites?
Yeah, for me, I think, we just lost him, and he's probably the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Howard Finkel, there's like, you want to talk about and new. There's no and new that sticks out in my head more than Howard Finkel's,
Right.
So he's a guy who's absolutely up there and such like that. So, he's absolutely up there. Lillian Garcia is also,
okay.
She was, big in the time also when I was growing up and stuff like that.
Sure.
The thing, too, is that I got the opportunity to meet her last year doing a show, and she was able to give me some advice when you're saying, how we kind of take and pick and choose. One of the things she taught me is like, you don't want to sound like someone else. You want to sound like you. So I try to sound like Adnan, you know what I mean? So I took that to heart. And so she's definitely someone who, I was absolutely thrilled to get some advice with. So if I was to at least have two on there right now, I would probably put those two. But then you can't also forget about probably the most famous ring announcer of all time, Michael Buffer.
Yes, he was on my list too.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because he's so big, he copyrighted a phrase that no one can say.
Right.
So I'm not going to say it. So that way, BFree CBD don't have to pay for nothing on this podcast right now. So those are all just voices that are just irreplaceable, unmistakable, and I'm just trying my best to do the same. Quite honestly, I've been lucky enough to have been doing this for how I've been doing, and I just appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys tweeting me, and I appreciate all the support that the fans have given me so far too. It's just been really incredible, and I hope my voice is just as recognizable someday.
Oh, we love it. We love it. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Championship Wrestling podcast presented by BFree CBD. We know that you're going to be in Memphis real soon. As soon as we make the announcement on the new date. Of course, we're waiting along with all the other sports for that to happen. But one last message that you'd like to send out to anybody in Memphis. Now, I heard you've never been to Memphis. Is there anything you want to tell the fans before you get here and before I let you go today?
Please recommend me all the great barbecue sauces and all the great barbecue places. I'm looking forward to getting brisket just about anywhere in Memphis. And I'm really just looking forward to seeing any of you guys. So whenever we get the birthday bash rescheduled and stuff like that, if you happen to see me and you know who I am, just please come say hello. I have no problem. I'd love to meet anyone and everyone who'd like to meet me. So, and let's get some brisket.
Absolutely. That was one of the voices of Championship Wrestling and new.
There we go. I'm a little rusty.
I love it. That's so.
The Championship Wrestling Rewind is brought to you by BFree CBD.
Another fun interview in the books. Absolutely loved catching up with Adnan Kureishy, our ring announcer, and I can't wait to show him all over Memphis, Tennessee one of these days real soon. And you know what? He's kind of got me thinking. Should Lillian Garcia replace, I don't know, maybe Bruce Buffer on my Mount Rushmore of ring announcers list? Tweet me at Dustin Starr. Lillian Garcia definitely belongs on that list. But now, up next, it's the Rewind, where we take a look back at 3 more feature matches in the fastest hour in professional wrestling on Championship Wrestling, presented by Pro Shingle. Up first, what a fitting weekend on Mother's Day weekend to have Dan Joseph avenge those personal attacks from Ty Matthews, talking about Dan Joseph's wife and kids and how he's going to teach him to be a better man. We look back at that. Very cool, dramatic intro package followed up by the match. It was very cool stuff. You have to go back on YouTube and check that out at CW30 Wrestling. And of course, women's division action. Heather Monroe was not only accompanied to the ring by Houston Body, but also Jamie Iovine. So she brought her whole squad, her whole entourage to the ring to wrestle Christy James, who has seen success outside of Championship Wrestling as well in AEW. She performed on Dark here recently. What a great match. I'm not going to spoil it, but gosh, it was like 3-on-1 at times. And then, of course, we had Royce Isaacs with Jamie Iovine in his corner defending his United Television Championship from Coastline Clash 2019 against the PP3 Cup Bear Bateman. And of course, there was special footage of the PP3 Cup cash-in. Man, this match had it all. Sarah Wolf escapes the clutches of the bad guys to deliver the PP3 urn just as Bateman was screwed out of his championship opportunity, and the symbolic way that he licked the urn. That's a PP3 moment in itself. We'll show that highlight over and over again. And then, of course, that was cashing in. Its top feud of 2019, arguably, was Royce Isaacs versus Bateman. What a match. And we're going to see that in the weeks to come as well. And then, of course, we had our live reaction on our official YouTube channel at CW30 Wrestling immediately following our broadcast every Saturday at noon. So thanks to everybody, and big shout out to everyone who joined us and who's joining us in the chat right now if you're watching on YouTube.
The Championship Wrestling Lookout is brought to you by BFree CBD.
My top 10 greatest Memphis wrestling tag teams list is officially out. Go listen at www.stspod.club. Of course, that's part of the Memphis in May series from BT, my buddy Brian Tremell. And coming soon is My Maria's top 10 slaps of all time. And you'd be surprised at some of those guys that are on that list. On Thursday, I've been joining Sports 56 Mornings with Peter and CJ talking pro wrestling. Be on lookout for that on Thursday as I make my way over to FedEx Forum for an all-new Grind City Wrestling. And this week, I think, is when we reveal our official Judas Challenge video. Oh boy, you're in for a real treat. And then also a big shout out to Mark Giannotto on 92.9 ESPN, and also the Commercial Appeal for writing up a story, a little peek behind the curtain. If you missed that, you can check it out on our social media or commercialappeal.com. And of course, that Grind City Wrestling podcast can be found each and every Thursday at grindcitymedia.com/podcasts. Next Saturday, our wrestlers put it all on the line. Just like I did when I let my Maria cut my hair. So we're going to have video of that. You're not going to want to miss it. Bateman is back in action once again against Royce Isaacs, and a special appearance from AEW's Scorpio Sky. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Also, the NWA Women's World Championship is on the line as Heather Monroe is in action challenging the NWA World Champion Allison Kay. And then, in the main event, it's one of my favorite matches in the history of championship wrestling. It's mask versus title as Watts defend his Heritage Championship against Rogelio with his mask on the line. All thanks to Howdy Price. Of course, part 2 of our special interview with King Cobra inside Mid-South Coliseum, courtesy of Just My Memphis and BFree CBD. Shout out to the Coliseum Coalition for help making that happen. Part 2 is on Saturday. Plus, I am going to be on location in Middleton, Tennessee at Middleton Independent Wrestling. And you're going to see just how they're preparing for the relaunch of live events in Middleton. Don't miss it. Live chat with us at the premiere of our brand new episode of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle, or you can watch on CW30 Memphis.
It's time for this week's Mailbag. Mailbag.
Mailbag. Mailbag. Up next, my favorite segment of each and every week. You guys are awesome. I always send out on my story on Instagram at Dustin Starr. Ask me anything, and here's what you came up with this week. First question, have you ever played VR games? And will we see new ring gear from you soon? Okay, so two totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Video game question, which I seem to get a lot of, and then of course new ring gear. So yes on both. The only thing about playing the VR, man, is it really messes up my hair. Next question, where are you getting all these suits? Well, this is a cheap plug, gentsformal.com. And I remind you to please support our local small businesses, gentsformal.com. And I know that they are open now, I believe. Favorite custom championship? Well, that one's kind of easy. Hands down, the $1 million title. That $1 million championship kind of helped make that character of the $1 Million Man that he couldn't buy the WWF championship, but he did buy his own. And you know what? He never really had to put it on the line, ever. So it was just his, which I thought was even cooler. Favorite wrestling game? Gosh, No Mercy on Nintendo 64 literally changed the game. And shout out for all the video game questions. The gameplay and the creation mode was literally next level at that time for Nintendo 64. So hands down, it's got to go to No Mercy. Although I did like stuff like WCW versus the World, because it was like 1 million guys you can choose from. Even though that game wasn't very good, it's probably one of my favorites. But anyways, next question, last question. Not really a question. I'm going to need one of them Grizzly Championship belts. And he's probably referring to on the live stream. I've got one on my mantle when my Maria allows me to. But if you want one of those championships, you have to win it. I have one of only 2 World Grizzlyweight Championships in existence. I'm not giving mine up, and good luck with beating Super Grizz for his.
Thanks for listening to the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFreeCBD.com.
Time for me to ask you a question. How cool is this theme music? Love it. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to check out BFreeCBD.com. If you already take CBD, or if you've been thinking about trying it, certainly try BFree CBD. And go ahead and like them on Facebook while you're there. The new shop looks awesome. Can't wait to catch you again right here next week on the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFree CBD. And we have a new guest each and every week. Send your requests my way. Tweet us at CW30 Wrestling. And until next week, I am Dustin Starr saying so long, everybody.